Welcome to Beyond the Riverwalk, the local weekly podcast that brings San Antonio's most remarkable people, places, and events directly to you. All links discussed will be in the show notes, so sit back, relax, and join Kevin and Melissa Barron as they ask the questions that you would. Now, let's get the conversation started.
Well, welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Beyond the Riverwalk. This is Kevin, and joining me tonight, after a couple episodes, I guess, of us not being together, is Melissa.
Well, that sounds a little weird.
Well, we've been together, but not on the show, I guess I should say.
I've been having other things going on at the same time.
Well, and then you did the episode with El Paraiso by yourself. So
yes,
all I got was the benefit of a box of paletas, which they brought, which was really awesome.
Yes.
So thank you. And I guess that kind of cues me up to remind everybody, go back and listen to previous episodes. One of the most recent ones was with MLS NSA. And that was about bringing Major League Soccer to San Antonio and talking about the team we have now, which has been off to an awesome start this year. And that's San Antonio FC. They play over at Toyota Field. So go back and listen to that one. And in the episode prior to that, I think, was the one with El Paraiso
Yes.
Original Ice Cream.
Yes.
And they've got a great looking, it's a Paletta cart, a great looking Fiesta medal.
Yes.
So go out and check it. Melissa's, all she's saying is yes tonight for some reason.
I'll talk more later.
Okay, good. Excellent. Well, so do that and go back and find us. If you haven't subscribed to the show, share it with your friends. Subscribe to it, please. We greatly appreciate that. It helps get the word out. And visit us at beyondriverwalk.com, and you can find all of our stuff. But without further ado, I guess tonight we're going to be talking about San Antonio food blogs. And Melissa and I used to do a food blog in South Carolina where we lived. We did it for several years. It's got us into podcasting back then. And we met just about all of our great friends, apart from the people that I met through my day job and we met through church. But we met a ton of great people by doing a food blog. So that was one of the things we wanted to touch on early in our series here with the podcast. So tonight, I'm really happy to, and I know Melissa is as well, to talk to Stephanie Sanchez. Stephanie has a food blog here in San Antonio, and by looking at it, she's got some great photos as well. So I don't know if that's kind of a hobby, but let's move on, I guess, and welcome Stephanie. Thanks for coming on Beyond the Riverwalk.
First of all, welcome to San Antonio.
Thank
I know
you.
you guys are fairly new here. We're happy to have you here. And thank you so much for having me on Beyond the Riverwalk. It is truly an honor, as you both are award-winning bloggers. So that's really a treat for me. And you guys have made a dream of mine come true. I've always wanted to be a guest on a podcast. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, awesome.
That is, it's totally ours because, as you know, by doing this for a while, by doing a food blog over the years, you really get into trying to find neat little places, especially kind of local stuff. So I guess tell us how you got into being a food blogger and how long you've been doing it. And I guess to start off, maybe even, are you from this area or did you move here?
I actually was born in San Antonio, but I grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina. My dad was in the military, so I grew up there, moved back to San Antonio around 1993, and have lived here ever since. So I'm here now, and I love my city. The way I got started, I actually enjoy taking pictures of food, and actually all my pictures are via my iPhone. I do have a camera, but I don't like to carry a purse, so I don't want to carry a camera around with me.
Yeah.
So I do just carry my phone with me, and that is, I think, takes great pictures, and it's fun to do. I got started just by posting pictures here and there of food. I love food. I mean, who doesn't? And
Exactly.
And as far as the city goes too, I'm kind of falling in love with my city again, because there was a time in my life back in 2004 where I didn't appreciate my city. I took it for granted, and I didn't really get a good grasp of what was available to me, and I wasn't doing anything. I kind of sat still in life, and I just felt like, you know what, I need to start doing. And I started getting on social media, finding things to do, finding places to go. And it kind of took off from there. And then where it really kicked in was I am a part-time student as well. I had to do an assignment for a writing for the media class. And that assignment was to start a blog, a WordPress blog. And our professor wanted us to make 10 entries to which she would grade, and she checked them every week. And I kind of just fell in love with it and kept it up. And But then my focus shifted to Instagram when I realized the analytics of it all, that more people were paying attention to the Instagram versus the WordPress.
Yeah.
And I think Instagram is just awesome because it's instant, hence the name Instagram. People don't have the attention span to just read, so they like to see the pictures. That's how I get lured into places. I see pictures and I'm like, ooh, that looks really good. Let me go.
Yeah, it sounds like us.
Yeah. It's like, I want that. I want to try that. I want to do that. So that's where all that came from. And I'm fairly new. Like I said, I've done this for about a year. I've really concentrated the last 6 months of, doing a lot more. And it's just been really phenomenal. All the people that I've met, the connections that I've made, and it's amazing. It's really fun for me.
It really, to me, that's what it did for us. When we moved to South Carolina, we were there for a few months, and kind of long story short, we weren't getting out and doing much. We didn't know anybody in the area, and we just kind of focused on, ourselves. And it got to be, almost claustrophobic at home every weekend doing nothing. So we started the blog, and our goal was to just kind of get us to push out and go new places, travel around the region. And if nothing else, change the scenery. And it just led to meeting, like you said, a lot of new people, doing a lot of new things. And it opened our eyes to the fact that, there's this region of South Carolina. It's not, the Charleston area. It's not the capital. It's not the area by by North Carolina and the
Myrtle Beach.
Yeah. Or it's not Myrtle Beach. It's not the Smoky or the mountainous area. It's called the PD region of South Carolina. So it's kind of in between all that, and it's very rural. But there was so much stuff to do, even in a community that was about 100,000 people. And then now moving to San Antonio, it's on steroids here. There's something to do everywhere. And the food is unbelievable. We unfortunately have not lost weight since we moved here. But I'm trying to do that, I guess. So what is it that I guess drew you to just continuing to do it? Because I guess you met people, you had to do it for the assignment, but what led you to food? Was that what you started with in the first place, was a food blog?
Yeah, it's a food blog. It was a food event. I kind of pinned my name, myself. It's San Antonio Stephanie, which that story is kind of funny how that happened. Because I am in school, I was going to actually have a time slot on the radio one semester. And I was trying to think of a radio name, a DJ name, and my initials are SAS. And I didn't want to be DJ Sass. I wanted to be taken seriously.
There you go.
So I thought, well, what about San Antonio Stephanie? Because I am in love with my city. I've fallen so in love with this city that it's insane. And so I thought, how about San Antonio Stephanie? And that's where that began. And it was just events. It was products. I like to try new things. So if it's beauty products or apps or anything, I did a blog on birthday freebies, like all the freebies you can get on your birthday, just anything. And I kind of pinned myself as the blogger of happy stuff.
Yeah,
I like that.
I just like to post happy things because I know there's so much negativity out there that if I can make someone smile with a food post, any kind of post, then I've done my job and I feel really great. I love to make people smile. And that really is the most wonderful part of it, is just meeting people and having that conversation and engaging in them and just having them say, hey, you know what? I tried this restaurant or I did this because of you. And thank you so much. And that's where a lot of my joy is. So that's kind of why I think food is an awesome way to bring people together.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And yeah, it's incredible. I never thought of food that way before. It was just like, ooh, that tastes good. But it really is a community of people. It's a community of love, and everybody just seems to just get together, and it's something magical just happens when people get together with food.
Oh, couldn't agree with you more.
Melissa's in,
and I know you guys did the food tour. I actually did the food tour before it went live.
Oh.
So, and I hadn't been to, I think I've only been to one place on that food tour ever. So it was like new to me, and it was exciting and it was fun, and it was a good chance to learn about my city. I learned something new every day about my city and a new place. So it was really cool to hear the SA food tours on your podcast recently.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan and Mike, I think they've hit on something that's really neat, because it's a walking tour. So, and they know a lot about the area. That they've learned a lot about the buildings and the history in the area. So you get a lot more out of it than just going to restaurants. But we went to some great ones, and I noticed you had I don't want to over talk Melissa. Do you have something?
No, I was just agreeing.
Oh, she's in a real agreeable mood tonight. I need to go buy that motorcycle while I got an opportunity.
No, that only works for an Emma says what she says in her prayers.
Anyway, well, no, what I was thinking of, I saw on your blog, you were talking about, oh shoot, now see, I'm about to talk about it and it slipped my mind. Was the wine bar down there that's part of the tour?
Nectar.
Yeah. So did you find that one before, or was that through the tour?
That was the only place that I had been to before. It was Nectar.
Okay. Yeah, that's a unique kind of thing. Yeah, it really is. It's a unique place, and it opened up to a lot of things, especially going downtown, because, obviously a lot of the population of the city is outside of the city. It's not a really big residential downtown at this point, although that's growing. So getting down there to do things after hours, even just after work hours, is something I think that people need to explore,
Yeah, I feel like I have, just within the last few months, I've been downtown more than I have my entire life. And it's amazing. It's like, oh, wow, I know my way around. I know where things are. I can walk from here to there. I know where to park. And I didn't have that before. And it's just going to places downtown. There's a lot of things to do down there, not just the touristy things,
Exactly.
But there's a lot of great places, that I think our city has to offer, and lots of programs. And I know they have the Tuesdays. I think there's free parking on Tuesdays. So I think people just don't take advantage of that. So I try to get the word out there, I guess, to say, so other people can enjoy it too.
Well, it sounds a lot one of the reasons behind this podcast in the first place. Beyond the Riverwalk, there is so much to do in this city. It's just unreal. And, we were, you sound like a newbie, even though you were born here. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I consider myself, like I said, I'm falling in love with the city. I took it for granted. And, there's a lot of things I know about my city that I, have had with me this whole time, but I'm discovering new things every day. I have people who ask me, where should I go? And, people at a time were like, you do so many things and I wish I could do them. And I'm like, but you can. It's like, you can do them. I utilize social media, Facebook, Instagram, and I find events to go to. I find things going on and I just go. And I typically try to find budget friendly things because I am a single mom and I have 2 children. And I know I like to feel like I relate to the everyday person, such as myself. I do like a really nice meal at fine restaurants and fine dining, but, I can eat, tacos from a hole in the wall and I'm okay. It's just like whatever mood I'm in and whatever happiness is going to take me, that's where I go.
Well, since you haven't been, or I guess you've been focusing on it more recently, you said in the last 6 months or so, how have you found the food blog community in the city? How big is it? How active is it? Do you guys get together? That kind of thing.
Oh, there's a lot of food bloggers in our city and they are exceptionally talented at what they do. And, me, I think I'm on the small spectrum, I'm in the grand scheme of things. But I'm actually, making my way and meeting a lot of people. There's a lot of bloggers who do have cameras and they take phenomenal pictures. There's a couple who are like me who do the iPhone thing. And I just think that we all have something different to give. Everybody has a different take on things. Everybody has a different angle, a style. And when we do have events, it's typically the same crowd of bloggers that are there or new ones. It just depends on what it is. If I'm getting invited somewhere to do to preview items, there could be, this set of bloggers or this one. It just depends. And everyone has been truly friendly and nice. And it's just really nice to come together. And it's always funny to me because when we go somewhere, it's like, hi, I'm San Antonio Stephanie, not Stephanie Sanchez, and I meet someone else
right.
And it's like, what's your Instagram? I know them by Instagram names, so then when I do talk to some bloggers more than others and I call them by their first name, it's kind of funny. It's like I'm not used to it.
It's funny, the kind of the community that builds up around it. I mean, I remember one time when we were doing the blog in South Carolina, we got invited a couple times to go to Disney and to represent, I guess, bloggers from around the country. There were about 100 of us. And the second year I went, because I had known several folks the first time, but we really started connecting more online, through social media and all that stuff for that second year. And when we got to the hotel, it was sort of like people would come up and say, "Hey, I know who you are," but they knew me through the blog and the character, so to speak, versus my name. But it was awesome because it felt like you had friends right away, because there is that sense of community.
Oh, and he was the only male in this group, by the way.
Well, not the only one, but there's a guy in Orlando that goes by the blog name Tasty Chomps. He was there as well.
Oh,
but mostly I was the old guy.
Hey, that's me. I'm the old girl in the group. I mean, I'm 39. I'll be 40 in June, and most of the bloggers are 30 or 30s, not even 30 or mid 30s.
Yeah.
So we noticed that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
I said, when we went to our first food blog forum in New Orleans, I looked around and I told Kevin, I said, I think we're the old ones here.
Yeah. It was new media, right? It's literally what it is. And I guess the thing with it is and you mentioned earlier, I guess, that people have kind of moved away from blogs, but I think what ended up, or at least to a degree, but I think what happened when that stuff really started to take off a few years ago, and I think it's still out there largely, is that it gave people that are I'm relatively introverted. So I like doing this. It's great conversation and it's awesome to meet new people. But at the same time, I can polish what I write, or I can polish, the photo, or I can work on and edit, the podcast or whatever else. So I feel like I can kind of control what I put out there and try to make it the best I can. So it gives you a little bit of an opportunity, I think, to connect with people in a way that you're comfortable with if you're a little bit of an introvert like I am. Now, you don't sound like you are, because you're out there meeting a ton of people and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I want her job.
Yeah. Well, you had her job.
I had her job. I had her job. She's talking about all these great things that she's doing, and I'm thinking to myself, I kind of miss that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I recommend it highly.
It'll surprise you to know that's not I have a day job. I have an actual corporate America job.
Yeah, well, definitely I maintain that as well. Melissa, we did homeschooling and all that. So that was full time as well for her.
Yes.
But it's like my day job, it still is similar, and it's very much, kind of structured, and it's a different kind of environment, and podcasting and doing the website and all that kind of stuff. Is a creative outlet. So, is that what you find here as well? Is it gives you just a different type of focus, or is it similar to what you do during the day?
Well, eventually one day when I grow up, I would love to do this as a job. It's something I'm very passionate about. I'm passionate about making people smile and just positive, good vibes kind of thing. And I think it excites me when I meet new people. Today, I had a couple of people message me and just tell me, "Hey, thanks for that recommendation." And they're just like excited because they had this new taco somewhere. And I'm just like, yeah, score for me. It's just sharing that happiness with other people and hoping that they'll have the same experience in whatever they do. It's kind of like my journey. Like, they're following my journey in life and just the things that I enjoy. And I'm like, hey guys, you guys should know it too. Why should I keep it a secret?
Exactly.
That's how I look at it. And my day job, it's a great place. I've been there for about 8 years. It has provided well for me, for my children. So it's one of those things. It's my job. It's what I get paid to do. But my love is with the blogging. My love is with food. My love is with community. My love is with people. So that's my whole, like I said, when I grew up kind of thing. I would just love to do this 24/7. And if I didn't have to have that day job, that's what I would be doing.
You sound a lot like my husband, when we were in South Carolina.
Oh, I would have loved to have done it full time. I'd love to do this full time because it's great. Just, it's creative. It's fun. You really connect with a ton of different people. When you were talking about the radio thing, we were talking a few weeks back to Sergio Barrera, and he goes by the name Piggy Fatness because he's a roller derby announcer, and everybody in roller derby has their own, nickname. Mm-hmm. And he said his came from, he was going to be, and it's so funny that the way you described yours was he saw a TV show, and this guy on this cooking show, or whatever, was talking about this, wonderful plate of Piggy Fatness or whatever he called it. And he said, well, that's going to be my DJ name, is DJ Piggy Fatness. And he said when his wife started with roller derby. So when his wife got into that, he said, well, I know the name I'm going to use when I become this announcer. But he's got a corporate job as well. And that's just what he does with his wife and his family. And they have a ball. So I think if you can find that creative outlet that you really enjoy, whether you do it full time or not, you got to do it because it adds so much, to your life.
Yeah, and it does. And like I said, there was a moment in my life where I did zero, zilch, nada. It was like I sat still and, one day I just woke up and said, I need to start doing things. And I haven't stopped ever since. People are always like, oh my gosh, you're going here and there and there and there. And I'm always doing something, which is good for me. And it's incredible. It's just been fun. And whether it's like, hey, go try this drink or try this food somewhere, I want to be there and do it. And I just feel like life is too short not to. So, I mean, if you can do something, go and do it.
Ever need a tag along?
I always welcome tag alongs. I have people all the time who say, can I come with you? And then I say yes. And then no one ever comes with me. So it's like, I'm always up for plus ones and anything. And I'm the kind of girl, if you tell me, hey, let's go do this, let's try this. Okay, I'm there. I mean, it's just,
that's cool.
I'm adventurous. I think of myself as adventurous. So, it's pretty fun for me. And the social media thing too, I like to volunteer. So that also helps my volunteer cause, I get to reach other people. And, that's another thing about the power of the social media is pretty awesome.
Well, what are you seeing now that you've been in this blogging community for a while? You're getting out there and connecting with a ton of folks. As far as the city itself and trends, what's going on in the food blog community now, or in the restaurant scene, or the nightclub? If people go and they try different stuff, what are you seeing changing about San Antonio, maybe that you didn't when you first got involved in food blogging?
I think a lot of it. I know there's a lot of growth, so that's changes. Always something new. I was talking to my daughter the other day and I was going over the restaurants that I've been to, and I didn't realize how many local establishments I visit. I think there's a very strong push for local.
Yes.
And I'm a big believer in that, but I didn't realize it until I sat here and wrote a list of places I needed to go, or went to my Instagram, and I was like, wow, that's great. Not to say that, non-local or franchise restaurants or any, or because there's a lot of great ones out there, but I find that the push is really towards local, just supporting the community. And it goes back to, there's a very strong emphasis on that, because you're giving to local, you're giving back to the community, you're helping people in our own city. And I think that's been a great big push. And that's kind of nice to see that happening, as to where before I don't think it was such advertised as it is now.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of a trend that I think people have picked up on in a lot of areas of life, but I think especially in restaurants, because, the chefs are looking for local ingredients. The people that go to the restaurants are looking for local restaurants. It kind of feeds through the whole chain of supply and demand. And I think that's awesome because, my parents, I always told this story years ago. My parents had 2 small businesses when I was growing up, and it's not easy. I mean, just doing what you do with the blog, you got to do all of it, right? So when you get into business, and especially you start a restaurant, it's a lot of work. So we try to do the same thing in supporting local restaurants, even if they're not one of a kind, even if it's a local chain. You're out there supporting not only that restaurant, but your community, because a lot of the local restaurants really do reflect the city that they're in or the culture that they're in. And that's really cool, because especially not being here for very long on our end, I've been here a little over a year. Everything is new to us. So what have you found in some local places? You got any tips to start out with? How do you find new local places to go?
Instagram, or Facebook, or just connecting with other food bloggers. That's how I know a lot of places that I've gone to, or just driving down the road or using Yelp and, hey, search for this particular restaurant. And that's how I kind of run into things. It's like I said, one big community. We kind of feed off each other. We learn from each other. And that's how we discover. It's just word of mouth and community. And I think too, also the other thing is, before I started doing all this, I never realized you need to go somewhere and you'd eat the food. There was never a connection with the chef or any of the staff. It was kind of like just eat your meal and bye, but
Right.
now
Mm-hmm.
I feel that, the chef has more presence and the owners have more presence, and they want to make sure that you're enjoying your meal. They want to see all that. And it's just been phenomenal to see people's passion and hear their stories. So I think it's another change too that I've experienced anyway. And doing the food blogging thing that I've noticed, I've met more people that are affiliated with the restaurant versus before. I would just eat my meal and take a picture and goodbye. And that's totally changed, I think. And it's like they are welcoming you into their home, and it's pretty awesome.
Do they know typically when you go to visit somewhere that you're there, to either have the experience or just to try it out, and that you're going to be writing about it or posting about it? Or is that something you just do, kind of on the sly?
Just kind of on the sly. Sometimes I'll like a picture or something on Instagram or comment, and I get people who say, hey, just let me know when you're going to come in. I'd like to talk to you or chat with you. But I usually do everything on the sly and just go, because I just want to I want the experience like anybody else would have. And then once I am there and have enjoyed my meal, then I'll usually reach out, or maybe I'll post a video on Instagram while I'm there. And actually I've had people come out to me and say, hey, it's great to meet you, which is kind of surprising. It's kind of scary with the social media. I forget that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here at your restaurant and I'm posting a video, and you just pop out of nowhere and say hello.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got notifications, right? So I just posted this 3 seconds ago, and here's the person showing up at your table.
Yeah. And I totally forget about that sometimes, because I'm just excited and I'm just trying to get a video for people to see where I'm at or something. And I'll mention the restaurant, but I forget they are notified as well.
Right.
So, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, everything I do usually is on the sly, or just to see the full experience.
Do you tend to focus on I'm hogging the conversation, so Melissa, please join whenever. But I love this kind of stuff, so it's going to be hard to shut me up. But I mean, do you tend to focus on certain types of places that you enjoy, or are you right now, do you kind of, I guess, see a change in what you started to look at and cover before and write about, or is it kind of been a mishmash? What do you see that you like writing about and visiting?
It's just anything that I see a picture of and sparks my eye, or someone has said, hey, this is great, or go try it. I love to try new food. I mean, I will try anything once, twice, maybe 3 times. And it just depends. I've eaten things that I never thought that I would eat before, but it just kind of like, oh, here's this. Okay, I'm going to try it. Yay, it was good. What did I just eat? It's just like, it's insane to me. Like, I'm enjoying trying new things, and I don't have a certain focus of where I'm going. It's just kind of whatever catches my eye, or if I heard about a place. And when I go to a new place that I've never been to before, I do 2 things. I ask for recommendations, and I usually say, surprise me. If it comes to like a drink, I'll look at the menu, the cocktail menu, and sometimes I don't want what everybody else has had. I want something that maybe no one has had before, or that's not been on Instagram. Or I'll ask for recommendations, and they'll say, oh, you got to have this. This is great. This is great. And then, or something totally different, just because of that, because I kind of want to get different aspects, not the same thing that everybody else is having at times. And it's hard, because sometimes that wonderful thing that's always on Instagram is really good, and you just have to get it out of your system.
Well, then that would hasten a second visit.
Exactly. I mean, there's places I've gone back to. I don't have, and this is probably weird, but I don't have a favorite, because I think it's unfair to have favorites in our city, because there are so many different amazing things that I think would be unfair to say, oh, that's my favorite. I mean, I have things that I enjoy from certain places more than, others, but I like everything. I mean, I am not picky. The only thing I don't like is mayonnaise. So as long as it's mayonnaise free, I will eat it. So my list is growing. My list of places is growing just like my waistline. So
mine's asparagus. I have a thing against asparagus, but everything else I'm game for. I'm the least pickiest one in the family.
Well, we found too, I mean, in doing what you're doing, I don't know if you've seen this with your family, but when we got into doing this a few years back, our daughter was younger, but she went with us everywhere we went. So one of her favorite things to eat is the eel rolls, the unagi, at the Japanese places, at sushi places. Mm-hmm. So she'll try pretty much, anything. And I think it's really helped her, over that time we were doing that, because it's opened her eyes to a lot of things that she might not have wanted to do, because she was relatively young, and and kids at that age want macaroni and cheese and whatever else.
What 13-year-old wants sushi?
Yeah, but it's really changed. Have you seen that? What impact, I guess, is where I'm going with this. What impact has what you're doing had on your family?
Well, my daughter is 17 and my son is 11. He is picky like you wouldn't believe. So when he's with his father, like he is right now, we usually go on our food adventures, her and I, because if he doesn't like something, he'll just be a brat the whole time.
Oh no.
No, not really. I'm just kidding. He's not. He just kind of there's something for me to eat here. So we wait for when he's with his father to have those food adventures. And it's really nice because she's not picky. She likes to try new things, and she has fun with me. She's like, Mom, I like when we go on food adventures. We went to, I don't know if you've heard of this place, but Ma Harper's Creole Kitchen.
Have not, but it sounds good.
Yeah, it has Creole in it.
Yeah, it's really good. And that was one of her favorite experiences, because we went there and we were ordering our food. We sat there and I let the waitress know. I said, this is our first time here and I'm so excited to be here. And she's like, well, I hope you like it. And our food came out, and there's a lot of things on the wall at that restaurant. There's pictures and stuff. And my daughter was looking around and said, Mom, I wonder where Ma Harper is. And I said, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe she's at home kicking back, enjoying retirement. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, So when we were done, we went to pay at the cashier, and the cashier said, if you give me a moment, I can see if you can meet Ma Harper. And I was like, what? I was like taken aback. She's in here? She's like, yeah, she's sitting in the back. And this is an elderly woman. I forgot how old they said she was. I want to say maybe late 70s. And I was like, this would be so cool. I mean, this woman, this legendary Ma Harper, I was excited. And my daughter's like, this is pretty cool. So we go to the back, and Ma Harper is sitting there just in a chair, like not a care in the world. And her husband was there, and we got to meet both of them, which is truly an honor, because I'm meeting this woman who established this restaurant. This
right, exactly.
Wonderful food. And she was funny. She was hilarious. And I asked if I could take a picture with her, and she said, you can, but no one else can see it. so it's for my own personal use, because she was worried about her hair and how she looked.
Oh yeah, that age, yeah.
I was going to say, so you have to stop her and say, let me reintroduce myself. This is what I do.
Yeah, and I said, you look beautiful. It's fine. So she had to approve the picture, and so that was on there. And I'm not going to lie, I did share a snippet on Instagram, a video just for a few seconds, and then I took it off because I was so excited that I met this Ma Harper that so many people have told me about or I've heard about. And my daughter was like, Mom, that was totally cool. And it was really cool because my daughter just asked, I wonder where she's at. And then she was sitting in the back the whole time.
Yeah, I relate to a similar experience when we were at the Food Blog Forum, and I got to meet Chef John Besh, who's, this New Orleans phenomenon. And meeting all these New Orleans chefs that I've heard so much about, it's like, you're like celebrity starstruck,
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. I even bought a book from John Besh by Amazon, but we had to tote it all the way from South Carolina because I wanted him to sign it if I got a chance to meet him. So, which he did.
And it's me, the description, I guess, of the experience you had is a great reason, I think, why people enjoy doing what they're doing. And it sounds like you definitely are, is because you can go to the restaurant, like you said, you can eat, you can pay your check and you can leave, or you can have an experience,
right?
And you're making memories with your daughter. And I mean, that's awesome. And if this is a way to get out there and do that, or to enhance that opportunity by being able to write about it and share it with people, shoot, that's great. That is super. I mean, it's the best hobby I can see. It's one that actually enhances your life. because I've had some hobbies that all they do is take up money.
Yeah.
Well, this can take up money sometimes, and sometimes I do get the benefit of having some free meals and stuff like that. But that's not why I do it. Obviously, It's just for the experience. I mean, there's a lot of people I've met, and when I go to places that I know that are local, and if I can see the owner or chef, and I do talk to them, and I love to hear people's stories, and I love to see their passion. I get excited when someone, there's just an excitement in their eyes, and it's just a warm, fuzzy feeling just hearing them talk about why they do what they do. And I mean, there's a lot of places like that in San Antonio where you can get that. And, I can go to a place or I'll tell anybody, if you feel welcomed and someone comes out and talks to you, you're going to go back there just for that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just feeling like you're welcome, just feeling like someone cares that you're there. That's incredible.
Yeah. It's a unique kind of thing. I mean, you could probably get it in other areas of your life, but by doing what you're doing here, I mean, I really do believe in the whole experience thing. I think that's why Disney is so successful is they don't sell tickets to rides. They sell experience, hotel experiences and everything else. So by putting that out there and sharing what you do with folks, they can kind of get a window into that and hopefully go do it themselves.
And that's what I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I was going to ask you just feedback that you're getting from folks that follow you and all. What reception have you seen from what you've been doing, and how has that changed over time?
Well, just really quick, I want to reflect on the whole experience thing. I think the last few months, the places that I visited, I hear a lot of that. We want to give you an experience. And I don't think I've heard that, in the past, I never really heard that. It was just like, I just want to give you food. Here you go. And now I'm hearing, a lot of places are like, I want to give you an experience. Just like the food tour was an experience. I mean, everything is just an experience that you normally wouldn't get on an everyday basis. So I think that's a really big focus and push of people around in San Antonio right now. So that's really, really nice.
So on the audience thing or the follower thing, how has that changed over time in terms of interaction? Do you get a lot of interaction from folks online?
I do. And I think that's what, I want to say it helps my blog is because I do interact with my followers. I do talk to them. If someone comments, I comment back. They send me messages. I message right back. And a lot of times they'll mention me in their post. Thank you, San Antonio Stephanie, for the recommendation, or thank you for this and that. And it just makes me happy that they're enjoying the same thing that I did. And I'll have people ask me about restaurants. What do I recommend? What was it really good? Was it not? And this is my rule as far as posting. If I didn't enjoy something, I'm not going to post it. Everything that I post is something that I personally enjoyed.
That's how we originally started out, like, quote unquote, rating restaurants where we were in Florence. And we both made the conscious decision that if we don't enjoy it, we're not going to post about it because it may be a bad night. They may be off. So we, and then we also said no chain restaurants. We did only locally owned restaurants.
And then I think to add on to that is we're amateurs. We were just doing it for fun. So, why would our opinion matter more than anybody else's? The only thing we wanted to share was the good stuff. And hopefully that encouraged other people to go try some good stuff that they might not have otherwise. But I think it's a great philosophy because you are trying to uplift people.
Right.
There's definitely a whole lot more negative in the world than it needs to be. And this is kind of a ray of sunshine. That's the way to handle it.
Well, I just think too, and everybody has different tastes. Just because I didn't like it doesn't mean someone else isn't going to like it. That's how I think about it. People have different priorities when they go to a restaurant. Some things are more important than others. I'm not picky when I get my meal, as long as it's not frozen.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not biting into a chunk of ice or anything, I'm pretty easy to please in that regard. I have started doing some Yelping, but it is a great way to connect with other food people and communities. And that's where a lot of the events that I go to come from. Is Yelp San Antonio has events where we get to preview certain places or go try something, and they like our feedback on that. So I'm a believer in feedback. not so much negative advertisement. It's just like, I will give you my feedback if you're asking for it. I give feedback when it's asked. I give feedback where it needs to be given, because a lot of restaurants do look to Yelp and blogs and Instagram to get that feedback so they can better their restaurant and practices. So it's kind of a, tricky situation, because you don't want to be harsh and you don't want to be negative, but you kind of just want to give your honest feedback on it.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely, it's grown over the years. People, I think, rely on ratings on those types of systems. There was one that used to be called Urban Spoon. I think it's called Zomato now. We used to link our food blog to Urban Spoon. So when we did a review or a link or something, it would show up on that website as a link to our blog. And we found a lot of people that were using that. But, as everything else, the trend kind of changes. Yelp, I think, is the big one nowadays. And I've heard from some other folks that it's really popular in the community. So what types of things do they do? Do they organize events for you guys to attend, or what role do they play?
As far as Yelp, it's a big time food community, obviously. They actually, there's different statuses, and there's like Yelp Elite, and it's just based on how many reviews you do, just tips that you give for other people who want to come in. And it's very useful for people who are coming to visit San Antonio, because a lot of that I see as well, or people are like, hey, I'm coming in from, California. Where can I go? They want places to go in San Antonio. So they kind of use that as a guide of where to go and what they should see and not see. And with the elite status, just because we are doing reviews, or whether it's lengthy reviews and lots of pictures and just really engaging in the Yelp community. We do get invites to events, and, it's one of those, you RSVP if they choose you, and you get to go. So it's kind of like, it just depends on what event it is and how many people they can have at that. I did one last night for Perry's Steakhouse at La Cantera, and it was amazing.
Oh yeah, it sounds nice. Definitely.
Yeah.
So.
It was really nice. I've been there before, but I wanted to go because sometimes they preview new items that they don't have on the menu currently. And at the same time, I'm eating this, different foods in this wonderful place. And in my post, I had posted their famous pork chop. It's this ginormous pork chop. And of course, I have to relay it to my everyday people, such as myself. And I said, hey, if you can't make it for dinner, on Fridays, they have a pork chop special for $14.95, so I kind of relate everything so people can get that experience that I had, but, at a budget.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in terms of places around town, since you talked about not wanting to name favorites, are there any places that you recommend that would kind of give people, whether they're visiting or they're just new to the area like we are, a good feel for what San Antonio food is like? I'm sure it's probably a big cross section, but are there any places that you'd recommend to people who are coming to town to visit or just wanting to get to know the community?
Yes. One of my go-tos for Taco Tuesday is Sangria on the Berg. And they're awesome because they have $2 tacos all day on Tuesday. So that's budget friendly.
I have been there, but not on Tuesdays. I did not know that. Yeah, that's it's on Fredericksburg. I'm trying to think of what the cross street is. It may come to me. But anyway, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's a good one. I'll make sure.
That's one he hasn't shared with me yet.
Actually, she doesn't remember, but she's been there as well.
Oh, that place.
Okay.
Yes, that place.
Okay.
It was very good. They had some good soups too. I remember getting
soup. I don't remember the cross street, but now I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of my, I wish I could be there every Taco Tuesday because it's $2 and, the tacos are pretty good size and they fill you up. And, I'm all about the more for your money. So I went a couple of Tuesdays ago. I'm going to admit to this, but I had 3 tacos and I had a sangria flight and dessert for under $20, which to me is amazing.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of look for, things like that. Another place that I went to actually this weekend was Cured in the Pearl. And I don't know if you guys have been there yet.
I've heard of it, haven't been there, but definitely seen it online.
Well, there's this burger that I had to have on there because it was calling my name on Instagram and I finally had the time to go over there and it was amazing. And the burger actually comes in, you can get it in a single patty, a double, or a triple. I went with the double and it comes with fries. And again, with that, it was, $11 for the burger and fries, and you get a pot of fries. So it was a lot of food. And I had a cup of soup and a dessert for $3. So again, under $20, so, I mean, there's really great places you can go to, even if you're on a budget. And I think people just don't think so. I think they just get intimidated by the name or just seeing a picture and thinking, oh, I probably can't go there, afford to go there. But, I menu preview a lot, and I usually plan out what I'm going to have before I actually visit the establishment.
Well, that's some good advice too. Yeah. Because one, you kind of get an idea if they're going to have things that you're interested in, but you can also kind of budget and figure out who's going to get what around the table so you can share.
And that's and that's I'm like, well, is it going to just be me or me and my daughter?
Well, I definitely heard of Cured, but I guess in my mind, I think, well, this is a pretty expensive place. It's over there by the Pearl. It's probably going to be hard to get to and that kind of stuff, but it has a great reputation. So I'm glad you shared that, because that seems like it's much more, in reach. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think the key is people should definitely, menu preview. Like that burger I told you, if you get the single, it's $8. So it's $8 for a burger and fries. And then the $5 cup of soup and $3 dessert. I had an ice cream sandwich. So, I mean, you can get a good meal for, like I said, being on budget. And I think that really helps. Most people don't, I think to look at that. They'll just go to a place. I like to do my research and see what I'm working with. And with anything, I try to give people tips on, there are chain restaurants who have free meals if you use their app. I kind of post that sometimes. Just anything that can save you money. I think people, want their dollar to stretch more now. And, considering the economy and so forth. So that's what I really try to target. And yes, it's a lovely restaurant, and they do have, things that are higher priced, but they also have on the lower end spectrum, like the burger, you can still enjoy it. You don't have to have the, fancy meal to not enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you still get the restaurant, the ambiance,
the
you still get the experience.
Oh, yes. Exactly. You still get the, I ordered a burger, and my sister, we all ordered burgers, and I asked where the restroom was, and the gentleman took my hand and led me and opened the door to the restroom. I mean, you still get that wonderful experience.
Service. Yeah, there you go. Service is
that is service with a smile.
It was. And it's just phenomenal. So I have a lot of, there's Bird Bakery Lorraine. I mean, a lot of them are in the Pearl area. But there's a lot of things outside of the city as well, outside of the, general Southtown and downtown area, that are just amazing. And I think if you just look on Instagram, kind of see what they offer, I think everybody can find something anywhere.
Well, where do you think the blog is going in the future? Are you going to look in at the similar things? Are you looking to expand it, or what's next for you?
I'm just enjoying right now. I'm enjoying just I'm just enjoying everything right now. And, I get, it's hard to say, because I would just love to do this on a full-time basis, and I'm eventually trying to get there, but with work, and then I start school in the fall again. It's just going to really depend on the feedback that I receive too. There's people out there who enjoy my blog and my posts, and that's always, good to hear. And that keeps me going as well, because when someone stops liking it or stops wanting to read it and I just don't get feedback, then it's going to be like, well, maybe I should consider something else, but it's my followers and that keep me going. It's the businesses that are wonderful to me that keep me going. I have people who contact me to, hey, let's get together and do a giveaway on your Instagram, or let's do this, or let's do that. And if I enjoy, like I said, if I enjoy the item, I will do it. And it's fun for me. So I just hope to get more connected with the community, and try to get people also to engage in some of the volunteer efforts that I have, and hopefully that, use that
platform.
Yes, sorry. I was having a mind blank, that platform to kind of focus on that, because I did a food drive for the Bernie Community Coalition about a month ago, and I had a lot of Instagram followers follow through, which was amazing. Strangers I had never met, people that I was coordinating pickup times to pick up items from, and that just really just wowed me and floored me that, little old me over here can get strangers to donate to my cause, and it was just an amazing feeling. So I hope that continues. I hope I just keep meeting my followers. And that's another great thing too. I was at an event last weekend, and a couple of my followers went to that event because I posted about it, and I actually met them. So it's like one big family. I mean, it's really nice. It's like you're meeting family you haven't seen in a long time, because they follow you every day when you post. You follow them in their journeys as well.
Yes.
So it's just nice to, see them and get that great big hug and like, hey, it's awesome.
Well, one of the things you could do is do what we did, go from a food blog and just become a food blog podcaster.
I would love to do that.
It's not that hard. Trust us.
It's not that hard.
It can get expensive, but it doesn't have to be. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's funny about that. I'm actually a communications major in production in radio and television, but me personally, I feel like I want to do social media marketing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And as much as I wanted to do radio and learn it, I don't like the sound of my voice.
Oh, I think a lot of people have that. See, I think that I've got this kind of weird, kind of nasally voice, but I've talked to a lot of folks that will listen and say, "Oh, you've got a great voice for radio." And I'm like, "Well, I've really never done radio apart from a little bit in college." But it's the conversational thing. And I think that flows really well. And I think what you're doing, and your personality comes out in what you've written and comes out in what you post and what I've seen online. So how do people come through and connect with you now? Because that's one thing, let's kind of help you expand that circle of folks any way we can. So how do people find you online? How do they connect with you?
And then connect with me. If you want to do via email, you can do sanantoniostephanie@yahoo.com. You can find me on Instagram. That's my platform of preference, just because I'm on that like every second of the day. And you can go to, it's san.antonio.stephanie on Instagram. And I think my picture is with a cute cuddly bear from Cup and Cake. I think the current picture, that was my boyfriend at one time. So they can do that. They can find my WordPress at San Antonio Stephanie at WordPress.com. And on Twitter at StephInTex, or actually Steph_in_Texas.
Good deal. Well, we'll make sure we put the links out there. Any thoughts or closing feedback you want to share about the city or about what you do, or just in connecting with folks?
And just with connecting with folks, if anybody wants to just go to via Instagram and look for hashtags, San Antonio foods, you'll find a lot of different wonderful bloggers. Like I have one that's kind of like my mentor, San Antonio Munchies. His name is Alex, and he is a great Insta blogger, and he does a lot of giveaways and stuff. And he's actually, really helped me kind of create or just continue on the path that I am. And he's been a pretty good mentor for me in that regard. So just try new places. Don't get stuck in a rut and go to the same places, and don't be intimidated by a place or food or people. Just go live and have fun and enjoy our wonderful city. There's so much to do. I mean, if you're bored in our city, then you're not doing life right. I mean, there's always something to do. And it just takes going on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram to find those things. And there's a lot of free events, which is really awesome. San Antonio is just a big, family focus on family, and with all the military people that we have here and just all the children, there's always something to do. So I really urge you to get out there, and budget friendly too. There's a lot of free things to do. So
yeah, we need to scope those out.
I think that's really great advice. Well, thank you very, very much for doing this. You're definitely always welcome to add by hollering at us. We'll get you back on the show, or even work with you on doing your own if you're ready to do that one day.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. Again, this is my first podcast. I was like totally nervous all day.
Oh no, you did an awesome job.
You did great. You did great.
This is, to me, it's been a lot of fun, and it's a great way to connect with folks, because you never know. Like you said, Instagram's kind of the platform you're really comfortable with and you enjoy. I'm sure, like a lot of other folks, some people are, when I sit in front of a computer most of the day, so I'm listening to a lot of podcasts because I got to look at the screen. I can't look at much else. So I think you never know how that message that you have or that influence you have is going to reach others. So I definitely would encourage you to continue what you're doing. It seems like it's being really successful. And like I said, you're, always welcome. Give us a shout if we can ever do anything for you.
Yeah, definitely. I work at a desk all day too, so I listen to music a lot, but I do, I have listened to your podcast and I do enjoy podcasts, but then I just start focusing on the podcast.
There you go.
Because I'm like, wow, this is so cool, So I've been listening to your podcast at work, and it's just amazing because pretty much all the people that you've had on there I'm familiar with or have been to in like the Paletta place. I'd actually been the day before, and I was like, oh wow, I just had those. So
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really, like you said, it's a really good connection. I hope maybe one day to have my own podcast because I'd love to do that. I mean, I always think about it, but I just feel like, I got to focus on this now, or life just happens. But
oh yeah, well, it sounds like you have a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
But I'm glad you made time for this. This has really been fun.
Yeah, and it was such an honor, you two. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have been on your podcast, and I really appreciate it. And I'm glad that you guys are in Texas.
Well, thank you. And we'll put all the links out there to everybody and the places you mentioned. And we'll give a shout out to Alex as well, because it sounds like he's been a great friend, and it'd be good to get his name out there as well with what you're doing. So we definitely appreciate it. And I guess everybody that's listening, we want to tell you the same thing. We appreciate you for joining us on Beyond the Riverwalk. This is I'm not even going to say what episode number it is because I'm probably going to remember the wrong number. But we're still in our first 10.
We're still in the first dozen.
Yeah. So we would encourage you, just give us some feedback and subscribe to the show. If you enjoy it, let your friends know, or at least, like I said, hit that subscribe button so you'll get the next episode as well. We've been trying to reach out to a lot of different people in San Antonio and the surrounding area, and we've got some really cool stuff coming that you haven't heard yet, but you will be hearing a lot more. So thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight on Beyond the Riverwalk. This is Kevin and
Melissa,
and we are really appreciative that you joined us. Go out there and find us on Twitter, now I can't remember my social media, on Facebook, and also on Instagram. We're not as busy with it as Stephanie is, but you'll find us there occasionally, and we're definitely following her. So we'll be looking for everything she posts. So connect with us, connect with her, and enjoy San Antonio. There's so much to do in the city beyond the Riverwalk.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond the Riverwalk. Send your comments, questions, and suggestions to podcast@beyondriverwalk.com. As always, subscriptions to our show are free and available wherever you find podcasts, as well as on our website. Until next week, join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for more conversations about our community.